am Ben Smith, trainer Ben Smith, boxer, bouncer, bodybuilder, and believer that we can all be happy. And I'm here with our good friend Lee Kindell, and I've been super excited to talk to you for like weeks, even before you agreed, even before I reached out to you and you agreed to talk to me. I was super excited to talk to you because every time we come down to Seattle, you're always so excited and vibrant and full of life. And so I was like, and Shar and I were talking like, oh, for sure you got to interview Lee Kindell. So hello, Lee Kindell.
Hello, Benjamin. I have to say, man, when you asked me about this and I saw the interviews that you're doing, I can't tell you how excited I was because, you know, as we've been friends for, wow, I think we're coming on 8 years now?
Yeah, well, Shar and I were talking about that too. Yeah.
It's coming on we're coming on a decade. So
I know, right?
I'm super excited about this. I love what you've been, you know, in our previous conversations, I've always been excited about, you know, what you've been, you know, trying to do and to express. And I always found it beautiful. And I think that's what you and I have a lot in common. So when you asked me to do this, I was ecstatic. So thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, thanks so much for being here. And okay, so let's just kind of go back a little bit. So Shar and I were talking just like 20 minutes ago. So from the best I can remember is we came down there. She said she found something online, or I think it was she found something online, and we discovered the original one, which is Hotel, right, in downtown Seattle. And when we first went there, it was just this amazingly beautiful, artistic, like you have all these artists from around the city that have designed it and painted. And it was just this amazing experience. Like, so I think we were looking for, you know, a fairly affordable trip that would be kind of somewhat original. And we found that with Hotel. And you guys just welcomed us so much from day one. And we've never, ever gone to Seattle since without staying at one of your places. Because you have two places, two separate hostels here. Why don't you tell me here, what are your thoughts on what I'm saying?
So we have our hospitality company is kind of a combination of hotel hostel. And for those of you who don't know, hostel is what is typically used as budget travel, where instead of renting a room, you rent a bed and you share a room, kind of dorm style, like you did in college, or if you went to college, or like you did at summer camp if you went to summer camp. But it's just a great way to have an instant social community and to travel on a budget. So when we built these hostels/hotels, we were super excited about kind of bringing community together. And that's what you two fell into when you came to us. And I can't even remember, but I think Shar found me and we just hit it off and it kind of went from there. Yeah, if I remember, I can't remember actually. I bet she does though. But yeah. So you've been coming like every year now since.
I know, and we feel like so now we go to the other one. Usually, we haven't been to Hotel for some time. That's so Hotel is in basically the heart of downtown Seattle.
The Hello City Hostel is in downtown. Hotel is in Fremont.
Oh yeah, I'm confusing. Yeah. Okay, so because now we go to Fremont. So now we usually end up going to, and that's like the Hotel in Fremont. Is like it feels like a home away from home. Our little room, we have our own private room and all that stuff, and it just feels like our room.
It is your room. We should put Ben and Shar on the door.
And it's awesome. We have our little window and our place where we sit on the couch, and Shar does her writing, and it's amazing. We love it. But the thing is, you and Nancy just welcomed us right from day one. And I think we all hit it off right from day one. And we've been good friends ever since.
Yeah, we did. It was kind of like if you saw us, like the four of us sitting down talking together, it would be exactly like the first time we sat down and talked together, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just, you know, and so we really did hit it off. And yeah, you guys are family now. So, wait, when are you coming back down? And, oh, I know what. We're supposed to come up there.
That is true. You guys are supposed to come up here, but yeah, I mean, we're leaving in like 19 days, I think, to Mexico for 3 something weeks. So but I think in February for sure we'll be trying to book our room
Yeah.
down there. So, and then for sure it'll be super excited to see you as always.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So usually what I ask people is, what are you up to in the world? And we kind of went over a little bit of that, but why don't you elaborate? What are you up to in the world?
So, it's funny because this, all the questions they kind of all tie in together. And I think that's kind of how life is anyways. But I've been, so we rebranded as The Hello,
Yeah.
a travel lifestyle brand. And, with all the travelers that we've had over years, it was kind of just a natural progression for us to, showcase the Northwest. And what I mean by that is, they're always asking us where to go, what to do. And so we started like making little guides for them, or even taking them places ourselves, and, made it a real true experience. And from that, I started kind of putting together video of, where to go and what to do. And now I've started this media branch of the Hello that is focusing on, outdoor activities and, food here in the Great Northwest, kind of like affordable food places. So I've been kind of slowly building this. Yeah, you don't even know about this yet.
Nope.
But I've been slowly building this kind of media arm of what we do. And I find it really exciting because our demographic loves social media, like YouTube and Facebook and Snapchat and all of those. And I'm getting a really good response from it. So I'm super excited about kind of pursuing this kind of media aspect of what we do, and the filmmaking, just like these interviews that you have, it's really fun to have the interaction and to also kind of maybe inspire people a little bit. So the combination of this makes me really excited about what we got going on. And then of course, the big dream is to, grow the brand into maybe different cities. And we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, because the last time we talked, or a couple of visits ago, yeah, you were talking with some people kind of back east, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm always kind of pushing buttons, lifting rock. I like to call it turning over rocks. And I'm always turning over rocks, whether it's down south or back east. But yeah, I definitely have a plan of opening some more of these. But I'm really focused on the media aspect right now because I'm having so much fun doing it. So yeah, that's been the really exciting part. So for this winter, I'm really hyper-focused on the media side.
Nice. Well, I know, as you know, Char's been pestering you for a long time to open one on the Sunshine Coast here because we love them, right? So up to it.
Yeah, right. I know. I need to get up that further north. I'm always like stopping in Vancouver and I never go any further. So
yeah.
To get up a little further north.
Yeah. Cool. Something on my screen. Oh, okay. Weird. Anyways, everything seems good. So yeah, so that's what you're up to in the world. And so my next question is always a simple one. So what just simply puts a smile on your face? Because we are talking about happiness here, and what makes you happy, what makes people happy, and how people can generally feel more happiness in their life. So what puts a smile on your face?
Man, I have to say, I love how I always find such parallels where you and I are in life, all the time. And you asking me that question is really kind of, serendipitous because I'm asking myself that question all the time. And this is just of late, I would say the past several months, I've been really like, hey, what's making you happy? Or is what you're doing making you happy? And everything that I do, I want to make sure that it's something that I find joy in, So I think that's what keeps me such a joyous person, is that I'm always asking myself that question. What is it that makes me happy, and what keeps me happy? And I'm always asking myself that question. And because I think that in my mission in life kind of parallels that too, because with all the kids that come through our place, we get like 60,000 kids a year.
Kids, by kids, you mean mostly like young 20s, right?
You guys, I call you kids. So when I say kids, I'm talking about all of our guests.
Yeah, okay.
Which includes you.
I know, right?
So,
well, 50 is a new 30, right? So,
that's right, brother. You nailed it.
Really, I'm not even 50. Come on, man. I'm young.
I'm going to tell you right now, you could probably out-physique 90% of the kids that come through. But yeah, so I think, having just by example or just by them being, within my arena of the hostel, I think it kind of can, that joy, if you're truly happy, I think people are like drawn to it, and I think they're inspired by it. So I constantly try to make sure that I'm staying in that lane of happiness, because I think the best way to influence people is to inspire them. And that's there's my answer to that question.
Nice. So yeah, your happiness in relation to what you do, your business, your passion, whatever, is clearly your passion, because you're always, every time we've seen you and you're talking about this exciting thing with whatever your business ventures you do. Obviously your work brings you a huge amount of joy and passion, and what kind of gift is that, eh? And you're obviously extremely good at what you do. And that's awesome. And I think, Arnold Schwarzenegger has always been one of my heroes from when I was a kid. And he always said, everything I do has to bring me joy. And that's like one of his keys to success, I think, really. And that seems to be one of your things too, eh?
Absolutely. And Arnold's one of my favorites to watch also, and in his, he talks about hard work a lot, and when you're enjoying it so much, it really isn't hard work, because you're in that flow.
Yeah.
And you're putting the time, and you're putting in what people would describe hard work or effort, or, the physicality of what you do. But to you, when you're enjoying it, it's not hard work, Yeah. So yeah, he nailed it when he says, if it's joyful to you, it's never hard work, but you are working hard.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know when I was young and I was into bodybuilding or boxing, something that we have in common. You were a boxer as well.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just like, all those hours of hard work for some people, it's just nothing but joy, really. Probably the same thing with you when you were boxing and stuff, eh?
Yeah, man, that was another lifetime ago, but it truly is. Whether it's boxing, the martial arts, the things that you and I love, when you're in that flow of joy, it's just there's nothing better. It's so pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back just a little bit, so that's something that really makes you happy, but what simply puts a smile on your face? Just a simple thing that puts a smile on your face.
Oh, that's an easy one. I think it's when, I provide that, joy to other people. When I see people being happy, or I make somebody happy, or I'm involved in happiness, or, and I find a way to be of service to bring joy, that's the reward, and I think, on a simple, on a very simple plane of just making somebody's day, like one of our guests, in the business, when we can make their day, that brings a lot of joy. So I think really the simple thing that just makes me smile all the time is, if we can bring that same joy to others.
Yeah, nice.
Well, it's cheesy, but it's so true.
Yeah, but the thing is, you and Nancy both seem like that. That really is genuinely how you guys are, because we, as we said, we've known you guys for a long time. We go and eat, we chat, we hang out, we go watch bubble shows together. That was the best.
Who did that? Who picked that? I can't even remember.
What's that?
Was that Nancy, or was that Char that picked that?
No, that was Nancy, and then she invited us, and it was And I was like, what is it? What is this? And it was like, it was so awesome. It was so fun.
That was crazy. But you know, that kind of adventure is really, you know, bringing somebody along, and you know, that sharing that kind of adventure is just crazy. It's so fun.
Oh, for sure. But like, I mean, my point was, we've obviously hung out a lot. You always seem to be, you and Nancy both always seem to be so happy to make other people happy and just be, you know, obviously of some kind of service in that way. So that's something that makes you, just puts a smile on your face. Sometimes when you can put somebody's smile on somebody else's face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice, nice.
It's a simple joy.
Nice, nice. Okay, so how would you say that your view of happiness has changed over the years?
Oh, wow. That's a great question, man. Yeah, that is one question I told you earlier that I didn't really prepare too much because I wanted to kind of go from the heart. But I did put some thought into that question because it's a powerful question, you know? And I would say that I look at happiness in such a different way now because I try to break it down almost in a scientific manner. Like what is how do you become happy? You know, am I happy? How do I maintain happiness? How do I improve happiness? You know, what are the recipes for that? You know, so when I was earlier on when I was younger, I'm just like, okay, do the things that make you happy. But now I'm like, well, how do I maintain that happiness, or how do I bring it to a higher level, and how do I share that? And so I definitely am, this might sound kind of silly, but I'm more technical about happiness because, you know, I don't want just me to be happy. I want the people around me to be happy, and I want to inspire happiness. So I definitely look on it from a perspective of not just my own happiness, but how do I kind of ripple effect that around me? And that's probably the biggest factor of how I've changed on how I think about happiness now.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, then in some ways your view of happiness has gone from being more singular and more kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of self-centered, like about yourself, to more expansive, including more people, and really trying to be more of a positive impact on the people around you or the community or the world even. Is that
absolutely, man? Absolutely. You know, when our famous peace-loving man Gandhi said, you know, if you want to see change, you know, be the change yourself, right? And I think in this world, you know, I think that's kind of one of my personal missions is to make that change within myself, because when you do change yourself, you really do change the world. And that's what I talk about when I'm like, how do I present this change outward? And so I'm always trying to affect others with my happiness. And yeah, you know what? I'm not happy 24/7, you know, 365. I have my downs, but I think the consistency is a way to kind of lead and inspire. So I constantly kind of keep the happiness going. And, you know, I say something a lot with my staff. I say, you know, it's like, fake it till you make it. And it's kind of like when you try to convince yourself to be happy, you actually become happy, you know? So, you know, definitely changes from just myself to, you know, outward, and how do I change the world through what I do and how I do it.
Nice. You know, and it's funny that you should say that, because Shara and I were talking about that last night, actually, with some people that we were out for dinner with, and just her and I personally talking about the kind of the hierarchy of needs, right? That people generally, you know, if all you're doing is trying to survive, that's all you think about. Then you go up these different levels, and it's only really when you find happiness within yourself that you can really start to express that to other people. It's really, really hard to exude happiness to other people, or try to really make other people happy if you haven't done it for yourself first. So again, that goes back to what you're saying, goes back to what Gandhi's saying. The first person you got to make happy is yourself, and then you can start to make other people happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So moving along, moving along here.
I'm
Well,
enjoying this, Benjamin.
oh, always, and I always love talking to you, and this is what I love to do, right? So, um, but so would you, based on that, what we've just talked about, would you say that from your observations, your experience, your view of the world, I mean, you come across a lot of people on a yearly basis, a monthly, even a weekly basis. So would you say most people are happy in your opinion?
Oh, wow. That's a hard question. I think that I'll put it to you this way. My observation is that people try to be happy. I think people try to be happy, and I think people pursue happiness. But I don't think a lot of people are happy. And I believe that is because, and this is just my opinion, but I believe it's because, our society today, the societal pressures are not of, hey, let's be happy. It's, hey, how do you fulfill yourself with these material things? And I think material things are often mistaken as something that can bring you happiness. And I think, there's a change happening, or I think there's a wind of change coming where that is slowly changing. But I think it's still very prevalent in today's society with our young people today who are looking at the kind of the influencers of our society and going, okay, this is going to bring me happiness, when these material things do not do that. And but I think they're quickly picking up on it. They're not, these young people are not stupid. They're influenced, but they learn quickly. And I do see a change in the wind. Like, for example, I do get a really good portion of the world coming through the hostel because they're all over. So I get this really unique perspective. And I definitely seen over the past 10 years, from kids going, I'm going to do a startup, my .com, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to get, the $1 million funding, now it's becoming like, oh dude, I want to travel. I want to do a vlog. I want to work from home, or I want to be independent. I'm seeing this drastic change happening. And typically I think that my travelers, because they're kind of on the forefront of change, because they are really open to things, they kind of lead the pack, so to speak. And so I think that I'm kind of seeing a prediction of where things are going with the young people, and I think that, they're starting to say, okay, maybe all this material thing is not working. Look at the movement to the tiny homes and to the vans. It's not just economic. I think it's also, I think there's something very emotional there too. And I think they're moving on that. I think the economics is a big part of it, but I think more importantly, I think they're starting to ask the question, what makes me happy? I think that's really powerful.
So based on that, would you say, and again, because you go through, I guess your demographic of people that go through there are more on the younger side, but do you think that's more of a younger person thing, or do you think people in generally are starting to open up to like, oh, material stuff is not the way to happiness, and this and that is not the way to happiness, maybe I need to look within or whatever?
I think my personal circle of friends and acquaintances, I think they're also kind of asking themselves that question. I see, oftentimes, over the years, they've changed jobs, and I see the question slowly becoming kind of overall. And this is just, again, this is my perception of it, but I see them starting to go, okay, what is it that's going to make me happy? Because these things that I'm doing, I'm accomplishing things, I'm making some money, or I'm not making some money, but I'm not really having this fulfillment that I want. So now it's like they're beginning to go, I'm starting to see this like, well, if I can't get the full reward, I'm going to just go ahead and go for it, what I really want to do. And you know me, like when I'm talking to somebody, I always go straight to the jugular, and I go, so tell me, and this is when I very first meet someone, I would say within the first 3 minutes, a question that I'd love to ask is, so say you had all the money in the world, say you had, nothing, the talent part of it was, not an issue. What would you be doing right now? I love asking that question because it's really interesting to me because they were like, then they kind of like, they're like, why didn't you ask me that? As opposed to, what do you do?
Yeah.
I skip over that crap and I go straight for the jugular and go, what do you want to do? Who do you want to be? And it's really cool because I almost
so cool.
Yeah, it really is, because I kind of see the defense drop down.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of times when people say, you know, what do you do? There's almost kind of a defense, and they're like, well, I do this because I need to make sure that you know that I'm doing something successful.
Yeah,
yeah. But when you go at them with, what do you really want to do and who do you want to be? Then it's like, whoa, somebody wants to really hear this, my dream, even though it's not going to make me money or it's not going to do this. And it's beautiful, the answers that I get, because they're not, you know, it's like, oh, well, I would love to be a writer, you know, or wow, if I could do this. I was just talking to a kid last night that works for a company that I'm affiliated with, and he's only 24. And he says, yeah, well, and he's in finance right now. And he says, wow, I would just travel. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, and I said, what would you do while you're traveling? He goes, I'd like to do something like Anthony Bourdain or something like that, but I don't need to be on TV. I just want to go check out different foods and stuff like, you know, so, you know, when they drop down their defenses and they really kind of let it go who they want to be. And, you know, you don't have to, and then I kind of just say, you know, you don't have to drop everything and go travel and not make any money. You can kind of slowly get to there, but give yourself a purpose and give yourself, you know, something that's fulfilling, you know, and it doesn't have to be, you know, all year long. It can be, you know, a few times a year, and then you kind of work into it.
Yeah, nice. So kind of based off what you just said and kind of elaborating a little bit. I mean, you did a very good job of elaborating on it anyways. But so that was basically your view of happiness, how it's changed, and are people generally happy? But how do you again, elaborating on what you just said, how would you say that, or what would you say that people could do to really kind of experience more happiness on a continuous basis? I mean, nobody's happy all the time.
Right.
Like you said, I mean, I'm a real happy guy, but I mean, I have down moments too. We all have down moments, but generally, what do you think people can do to, on a practical level, enhance more happiness in their life on a more regular basis?
Dude, that's an awesome question, because a lot of times people are like, well, what I want to be happy is so big. I mean, I can't get there, you know? So how do, and again, you know, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, how I think about, how do I break that down? What's the recipe? You know, what is the recipe? Because I love food so much. I kind of look at it as the recipe, right?
And you make great pizza. You make great pizza. You make pizza.
You know, and in my recipe, I think it kind of boils down to a few things. And I think first and foremost, you know, and I love it because, you know, you just sent me your manuscript of your book, and the first sentence, you kind of knocked me on my ass, you know, and it was truly, you know, I can't quote it exactly, but it was essentially, you know, what you think you become.
Yeah.
What you always think is what you become. I believe that's what it was. I can't remember. I read it when you first sent it to me. But I was just like, dang, now that's an opening line. But it's true. So, you know, I think the first thing to do is just kind of get your mind in that process of thinking, I'm happy, you know, and being grateful for what you have already. I think that, you know, that mindset of, you know, we're in the greatest country on the freaking planet, right? And even the poorest of us on the lowest part of the economic scale are still ahead of the world in many places. So we all still have a lot to be grateful for. And I think we easily forget that. So I think a reminder of being grateful of who we are and what we have is really important to kind of begin the process of happiness.
Yeah.
You know, and I think another thing that's really important is the relationships that we have. So there's a saying that goes right along with how you think is who you're with is who you become. So when you surround yourself with people who are probably not wanting to go that direction, or who are maybe what I like to say stuck on the wheel of life and can't get out of it, more than likely you're going to stay on that wheel. But if you step off of that wheel and start surrounding yourself with people who are inspired, and they don't have to be the most successful people. They could be people right alongside of you but as long as they're inspired to keep pushing forward, I think that's really important also. So
Right.
like the relationships that you have, your mindset, are super key to just starting. And I think it's just, kind of just, and I think that's how you break down that recipe, and I think you'll get to where you want to be in happiness if you start with that mindset, surround yourself with people, and then kind of have an action plan. Like I do want to be happy, but how do I get here to be happy? Because a lot of times I say this to all of the young people that I speak, and I speak with a lot of young people about, because I open up with that question of who do you want to be? But then they have this big picture and they don't know how to get there. But I use my example and I just say it's, brick by brick, step by step. You got to break it down to what's that first step. And that first step is that your mindset. What is that second step? Start surrounding yourself with people and things and inspiration that move you in that direction. And then you start taking those little steps. Yeah, when I first started building my business, I was waiting tables and Nancy was at a flower store and we worked our day jobs and I worked the waiting tables at night. And then we opened our business and we would swap. So I would be working the business during the day and Nancy would be working at night and we would swap. It was nonstop. And, it was little steps to build up to where we're at now. And we're still building brick by brick and little daily consistency that gets you there.
Nice. Okay, so again, I'm basing off what you just said. So one of my views about happiness, this is just one of my views. I mean, this is not about me at all, but part of my view is that people have a little bit of a misunderstanding of what this is all about, in my opinion. And kind of going like what you just said, and my experiences, like for example, I remember wanting so badly as a kid to be like muscular. I wanted so badly to be muscular, and having a vision and knowing that you're kind of at the bottom of the ladder and having a vision of where the top of the ladder is, and then knowing that that traveling that distance from the bottom to the top or wherever that's joy. So being there, but once you get there, I mean, I've been in, there was a time when I wanted so badly to be muscular and whatever, and man, that stuff boring. Like I've been, quite built many times in my life where but that's boring. But going from having an idea or a passion and seeing like, I want to be there, and then feeling like you're on that path, and I think that's one of the things that it seems to me brings you a lot of joy is you always are we're expanding human beings. And I mean, I think we're meant to be expanding and growing and becoming more and seeing like, oh, I want to be more of this or more of that, and embracing that fact that we are not meant to stand still. We're not meant to be like, oh, if only this happened and only I had this and only I had that, then I'd be happy. No. You'll be happy when you realize that life is a journey and you live it. And I mean, I'd like to think that I live it, that, once you start to get your head around the fact, man, I got passion, I have things I want to do, and I'm not there, but I'm on, like that excitement about life, and stop. I think people need to kind of stop, or at least kind of reflect a little bit on like, man, so what if you had like $10 million? Now what? Or what if you don't have a relationship, and now all of a sudden you're in a relationship? Yeah, that's all well and good, but there's tons of people that have been in relationships for 10 years and it's like the thrill is gone. I mean, you love them, but like it's that journey that's the most meaningful. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I 1000% agree with you, Benjamin. It's the journey, and kind of like, it's about, appreciating that journey and being in the moment of that journey, that mindset of mindfulness and gratitude of being in the right now, like this communication between you and I about happiness and being joyful about just being together and sharing that journey of our friendship, is the beauty of life, right? So the journey's everything, because when you get to that point, you're right, you get there and then what, right? So It's got to constantly expanding. One of my favorite books that I love talks about, we're similar to a tree. We're planted as a seed and then we grow. And, it's kind of like the natural law that there must continuous expansion must be happening. So,
hello again, Lee. We're probably about 20 hours. Geez,
yeah, it was a 20-hour break.
Yeah, it was a 20-hour break. It was actually it was 23 hours. So we started at 11 yesterday, right? Yeah, so we have a 23-hour break. Why? Because I'm down here. It's beautiful. I'm on the ocean, surrounded by mountains. It's awesome, but the internet connection sucks sometimes. So we lost our connection.
Well, that's the price you pay for living in paradise, though, right?
It is. It is true. It is true. But yeah, so let's just continue. As we agreed, we're not going to worry about continuity or anything. Just for people that are unhappy that we don't have some continuity with all that stuff.
Welcome to YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So the last thing that you were saying that was a book that talks about a tree and
it was basically this, Ben. The book, the author says that, and it was agreeing with what you were talking about earlier, that it's just natural human nature to want to expand, to want to be better, to be more. And that's basically what we're talking about is just, how do we become more of who we are and, and attain that happiness and just kind of being in a place that is better than where we are right now. And I think that's human nature that we want that. And we both agree very much on that
one. Yeah. That's really about the growth and the expansion as a human being and just experiencing life and just being more than what you are.
Absolutely. And, I think that's, as I was talking earlier about, like, who you hang with, that's why I love, when me and you and Shar and Nancy get together, it's just that real positive life force. We always leave each other just feeling great and feeling inspired, and that's what it's all about.
100%. 100%. So for people that, again, this was just really two friends having a great conversation, but just on a practical level, what for people that want to be a part of what you're doing, your hostel, they want to come down and visit Seattle or Fremont. Well, Fremont is Seattle. Like, what's the best way to contact you, to book a room, anything like that? What's the best way for people to do that? Because we never discussed this, but I got to make a plug because your places are just awesome. It's just such a great experience. I don't know why anybody who's going down to Seattle wouldn't at least investigate that.
Thanks, Ben. That's awesome. Well, for those of you who don't have my phone number like Ben does, you can actually just find us on thehello.com. Super easy, and you can book either one straight through the website. And we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, well, the only thing is you can't give our room away. You can't give our room away, right?
Yeah, the Ben and Shar room, you got to be pretty special to get into
that. Well, I'm glad we had a chance to wrap this up properly. And I was looking at some of what we filmed yesterday, and I'm super happy with it. And it was just, this is really the first time you and I have ever really chatted outside of being in Seattle or whatever. So it was just really awesome to talk to you again. Feels like too long.
And it's funny because I plan on, because I'm starting my YouTube channel, I'm actually going to come up there and I'm going to interview you on the water and do our thing. So we'll do back and forth kind of thing. And I have to tell you, Ben, it's such an honor. Thanks for having me, on board with what you're doing in this project. I think it's just fantastic. And I think you're going to reach a lot of people. And I just love this project that you're doing. It's really, truly inspirational. So thanks again for thinking of me and having me on. It really is a privilege. Thank you.
Well, again, thanks so much for that, and just for everything, for being here. And we love you guys, and you guys are just like, you're like family now.
Always, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Ben. I can't even tell you how much I enjoyed this, man.
Cool. Well, have a great day.